All things Iran with Middle East expert and executive director of Scholars for Peace in the Middle East, Dr. Asaf Romarovsky, is on the live line. Hello, sir. How are you?
Good. How you doing? Good morning.
Good, good, good. Things are crazy over there right now.
Crazy and fluid is the theme of the day.
Yeah. So
As always, it is the Middle East.
The fighting's been going on since the creation of sand, so I don't know why people are shocked that they fight, because they always have. My entire lifetime, there's been somebody fighting over there, but sanctions are getting lifted from Syria because Trump says, we got new people over there, let's give them a try. But those bunker busters that went in really were a game changer, weren't they?
Significant game changer. I mean, this was a massive success story for both the U.S.-Israel alliance coming together. I mean, the Israelis did a lot of the heavy lifting before Trump came in to finish the job and using the B-2s and using the massive ordnance penetrators, which are the MOPS. And so that caused significant damage. There is now, in this process or this period of what we're calling now the bomb damage assessment, people are trying to, argue about, how much the program was set back, in years and months and whatnot. There's a lot of politicization to all of this, which I find to be a little bit, silly. The fact of the matter is this was the right thing to do. It was done at the right time. The assessments, according to the Israeli intelligence, they put them back about 2 years, so we're in a better place than we were before. Again, none of this has dissuaded ever the Iranians from their quest for the bomb, and most likely they will try to continue. But this was an existential threat and needed to be stopped, and came together in a perfect way in unison. And I think that, there's no doubt to my mind that both Trump and Netanyahu during their visit next week in Washington will do a victory lap, that is rightfully deserved.
And I don't think it's over. I don't think we're done.
No.
Because we may have knocked off some scientists. We may have knocked out some of the bunkers and even, kind of a little bit nuked them underground. But because if they had enriched uranium, it went up with it. And so they're going to have a radiation problem of some kind. I can't help but think. But it's not like they didn't have everything written down so they could start over.
100%. Iran has been playing the long game for a long time. They've had a lot of things that are underground. There is no doubt to my mind that in this period of now, they're going to try to continue to rebuild. And so, yes, we're not done with Iran. Iran is still a problem for the region, so long as the regime is intact. I mean, that's really where it comes down to, and the way that they're able to use and abuse their nuclear program to support the act of the regime.
Well, we know where all their leaders live. Why can't we just whack them? I know that's against international law to assassinate, heads of state, but are they heads of state? I mean, they took over the country at the point of a gun, so are they, or are they just terrorists holding a country hostage?
Well, to my mind, and I agree with you, this is a tyrannical regime that has been the navel of all global terrorism for the past over 4 decades and continue to do so. And not to mention, let's not forget the fact that the current war with Gaza has been also the multi-front war against Iran. I mean, all of Iranian proxies. And the enemies of Israel are the enemies of the United States, and this continues to be the problem. It has been a little bit of a game of whack-a-mole, no pun intended.
I say that all the time.
There's always another leader around the corner. But to your point, and you are correct, we took out, significant leadership of the IRGC. We took out the scientists. We've done a lot to devastate the leadership of Iran. Again, until we're not about to engage at this point in what is considered to be regime change, but there is already talks about Khamenei trying to appoint a successor. He knows he has a target on his back. By the way, it's important to note that since he has not been seen in public, even during the funerals, since June 11th. And so he is definitely fearful of having a target on his back.
Or dead. I mean, they might have got him too. We don't know for sure. Unless, I don't know.
He's still putting out messages, so he's
Okay.
still around. As far and what we know it to be true.
Well, we'll get him. All right. So, I look at Hamas and how cocky they are, and they fight like whack-a-mole. That's why I say that all the time, because they hide in holes, they pop out, they shoot, they hide like cowards. They pee in a bucket, they take people and use them as body armor, and they're a bunch of cowards who all need to just be slaughtered because that's what they believe will martyr them and send them to where they want to ultimately go anyway. So let's just help them out, shall we? Okay, but as far as Iran goes, the people, they're so misled, and I'm embarrassed by some of the American journalists who bring leaders of Iran over here, spokespeople for Iran, sit them in a chair, put them in a suit, and make them look pathetic, and talk about how horrible it was to have gone through this bombing when they're all over the world killing people.
Oh, 100%. I mean, let's not forget also the kind of silliness that came out of individuals like Whoopi Goldberg, who was, comparing, her role into women of Iran and other kind of, foolish comments. I mean, a lack of understanding of influencers who should not have any influence on any topic in the world, let alone any knowledge of foreign policy and how these countries operate. But there has been an attempt, and the regime has used, which, like Hamas and other of their proxies, international institutions like the United Nations and like the Academy and like other places to try to sanitize the regime on the West, to say it's not so bad and really America is the aggressor. I mean, look, on the day of the attack itself, you had one of the key pro-Palestinian groups on American college campuses, the Students for Justice in Palestine, SJP, on their Twitter feed and on their Instagram, putting out pictures of coffins with American flags, calling for more death to Americans. I mean, this is how anti-American, anti-Western these groups are, and they're operating on American college campuses. So let's put that into context as well, as the fact that we have a fifth column that is healthy, and there's now a concern, which has always been a concern, of sleeper cells that are coming to target the United States.
Yeah, but they're already here. We know they're here. The border was open for so long. There's no way to deny that some of them are here. There's lone wolf people. There are groups of people. Paid protesters. They're everywhere. But we've got to live our lives and just pay attention. That's all we've got to do. And isn't it funny how cocky Hamas was? Not just on October 7th, but they will not give up these hostages because they know that's all they've got. I believe most of the hostages are dead at this point, but now they're begging for a 60-day ceasefire, and the only reason Hamas would want a ceasefire is so that they can replenish. They don't want to stop the war completely. They say they do, but they don't. They just want to rebuild and get themselves gathered again so they can launch another attack, because that's what they do.
And that pattern has been consistent all along. Mm-hmm. Obviously, there's a mounting amount of pressure coming in from Washington, obviously from the Israeli public. We're guesstimating 50 hostages, half dead, half alive at this point, and there's mounting pressure to bring them home as soon as possible. I mean, you and I have been discussing this for the entirety of the war itself. It's been over 631 days of all of this, and this continues. The amount of suffering, and literally every day they are in the terror tunnels, is a risk to their lives. So this is a major problem, not to mention the other part of the problem, because there are no solutions or quick fixes, not to mention all of that. What does the day after tomorrow even look like? And I'm sure that's part of the agenda item for next week's visit in Washington.
Well, and it's so funny to me where, people will show a hostage being released, and you can tell who the sympathizers are for Hamas and Iran, because the flag is their profile picture, and they think it's funny that a mother and two of her tiny children are dead because they said, oh, you Christians all want to be Zionists. No, we don't. We just side with our brothers and sisters who believe in the same God we do, who is a God of mercy and not a God who's promising you sex in heaven with virgins. Who does that? Anyway, I'm just saying, we've got to stop these guys once and for all. So I believe
I,
we should
I'm
go in
with
and
you.
just wipe them out.
You know, the ideology and all of this needs to be rooted out. The problem is that they're force multipliers, and we need to cut them off at the root. But the other part of it is really looking at to see what's happening here in the United States. You know, through the halls, through different elected officials,
Crazy.
through campuses. I mean, we're seeing the same kind of examples now with the mayoral race in New York with Mamdani, who basically advocates for globalizing Intifada. We know exactly what that means.
Mm-hmm.
Words have consequences. We saw it with the attack on the governor's house here in Pennsylvania. We saw it with the attacks in Boulder. We saw it with the attacks in Washington. And they mean what they say, and they say what they mean. And they're going. And then so we, for some reason, are trying to rationalize their actions, which are terroristic, tyrannical, and Nazi-like all around.
Yeah.
And this needs to stop.
Well, the guy who won the first round in the mayoral thing, that's why ranked choice voting cannot be allowed. It has to be made illegal in the United States. The only way he got in. Cuomo's not much better, but I'm just saying he's at least not calling for intifada. So if we can get the regime change in Iran, do you think another tyrant is going to take over? Do you think the people will finally get the free elections and get the culture they want back, whether it is one of freedom and capitalism or one of whatever it is, but as long as it's peaceful and allows them to be free?
Historically speaking, I mean, really, it's fascinating to look at doing a deep dive at Iranian society. There's a lot of Western sentiment in Iran, which shows really the gap between the regime and the people. The individual to look out for is the last son of the Shah, Pahlavi, who's out in the States here now and really reaching out through every social media, any kind of other outlet he has, looking for, he would love to be brought back. As the rightful heir, and to change Iran. But I think that having an organic swell internally would be great, and coming from from the people, there is enough sentiment to build on. And they have to come to terms to recognize the fact that they've been used and abused by the regime for decades now. And I think that so I think we need to help them as much as possible. But I don't think that we have the appetite to start dealing with regime change. Again, Iran is Iran. It's not Afghanistan. It's not Iraq. I mean, there are different parameters that need to be looked at all around. But if you go back to the Green Revolution and other kind of elements where there are enough Iranian dissidents here in the States who remember Iran pre-1979, there is something to be said about that and bringing back that change. That would be good all around. It would be good for Iran, it would be good for the region, and that would be a welcome change.
Yeah, at least for a couple of decades. Give us a breather. So, I know that you are an expert on the Middle East, but I know that you also love the Middle East. So you've got to feel torn.
Yeah, look, I mean, I think that the betterment of the Middle East, we're definitely at an inflection point here, and I think that we want the best for the region itself. I think that change is around the corner. I think that the Saudis are looking, we're looking to get them involved with the Abraham Accords. Syria now is under a different leadership. Whether or not they take the carrots and make change yet to be seen, but there's definitely a shift in the mood where the region is definitely changing, I think, for the betterment of the people. That being said, I mean, we can't ignore the fact that Iran has been the largest destabilizing force for the region at large and represents an existential threat for Israel and its neighbors, and especially the Sunni countries, which Iran is a direct threat to them. And so I think that we have to recognize those realities and see what would be better for the people of the region and for the world at large, because a stable Middle East is also better for us here in the States.
It's better for everybody. Divine intervention that Trump got in, and he's making these changes so quickly. And I know Israel took a giant sigh of relief when he got in there, knowing that somebody was finally going to have their back. So where do people go to see what you talk about, work on, and put forth? Yourself.
Our website is spme.org, and a lot of our work is all there.
All right, spme.org. He is Executive Director, Scholars for Peace in the Middle East, Dr. Asaf Romarovsky. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.